Welcome back. So today I have a camera girl helping me, so we might actually get some really good footage. um, we've got our new gasket kit came in for the carburetor that we rebuilt, and so we're going to throw that new gasket kit in just real quick before we try the carburetor. I'm really just going to replace the one main gasket on the float or on the bowl. That's the one that I'm really concerned about. It was a little rough looking. I think we can get away with all the other gaskets, but I've got them at standby. Everything else looked pretty good, but that one on the float bowl did not look that great. We put silicone on it and everything, and we could probably get by, and I was going to try it today, but post office was nice enough to deliver our gasket kit a day early, and so I didn't think that kit was going to come until tomorrow. So now we can just go ahead and put this new gasket in. Ordered that kit off of eBay, and it's an official Honda gasket kit. That's the part number if you need to replace your gasket kit on your carburetor for your 2005 Honda Recon. I'm sure it fits a bunch of other models too, so just cross-reference and look up what you need. But ordered that from Everett Power Sports. I believe they're out in Washington State, and they got us this thing super quick. Ordered it Friday or Saturday. I have to go back and look, and it arrived on Tuesday. So nice, fresh, bubbly gasket. Got it all put in there. Man, that looks so much better than that other one. Look at that one. It was all flat and sort of smashed out. And it doesn't look dry anymore because of the silicone, but it definitely doesn't look as nice as that one. Let me put this back together. We got the 3 screws, and we just go hand tight and get them nice and get them all seated, and then go around and make them hand tight. That way it tightens down nice and even on that new gasket. Alright, so welcome back. Alright, so we looked it up, and it says that it goes this way with the little detent facing backwards. I guess that so you can get a screwdriver down in there and adjust your pilot jet. Sort of goes against what I would think. You'd think it would go the other way because it has this little slot that fits on this little groove over here, but I didn't design it, so that's what the manual says to do. So we're going to go with that. Put our new gasket back in there. Like so. Yeah, I think it goes the other direction. Because now, I think that this little tube is supposed to fit through there. So on this carb, even though the manual shows it going the other direction, we're going to put it on there this way. Because I think that's the only way that the tube's going to fit in there, and we're going to be able to put the bowl on. So we're going to try it this way, since that didn't work. We're going to set that little cup right there and see if we can't slide the top down. right. That seemed to work better that way. All right, now let's put our screws back in. Do the same thing again. Just get all the screws snug, or not snug, but just touching. And then we're gonna just go around and slowly tighten them all up. All right, we got all our screws nice and tight. All right, now we're gonna put our hoses on. We'll be right back and we'll show you the hoses. All right, so before we get shot in the face with the spring, be careful. We took our carburetor apart and put it back together. We got all the hoses back on. Outside hose goes around to the bottom. Inside hose goes around right beside the fuel inlet. And then the top hose goes around into the top of the intake side. So we've got our spring and it's still in there. Our spring and our needle and our caps over there. So let's go on over and get everything installed, put back together, and ready to test. So we'll come over here to the cap, and this sits right in there. Pull that through. And there you go, you're in. Now we're going to set that down into the carb. So you've got your idle adjustment is this side, and then you've got your groove right there. So your groove is going to go towards your choke, and your idle adjustment is going to go towards your idle adjustment screw, and it should fit right down in there nice and easy. And then we're going to screw our cap on. Again, all this stuff's aluminum, so just take your time when you're screwing it together so you don't strip it out and ruin it and waste a lot of time. But you've got to go back and play with it. So we've got that set right there. We're going to go ahead and hook up our choke cable before we finish putting it into the system. Choke cable goes onto that little black lever. And then put a little pressure on that, feed it up, and then let it go. And then we need our Phillips head screwdriver, and we're going to tighten it down on that little brass fitting on the end of the cable, and then that way it won't slide. Got our screwdriver. There's a little tab right there. You just want to make sure that this clip is on that tab, and then that way it'll tighten right down and hold that cable. All right. So now we've got our choke installed. We can test that before we go any further. Got our choke. Yep, it works. There we go. So that's good. We can test our throttle. That looks really good. Sure. Throttle right there, going up and down. Looks nice and clean, smooth. Everything works good. Choke, when we pull our choke cable, lever goes up real easy. Push it, it goes back where it's supposed to. Everything looks nice and happy. So we're gonna go ahead and set it down on top of those studs that are coming out of your air intake, and then you've got your two 10mm nuts that go on there. Just do those with your fingers to get them started. Go around the other side. Gotta have tiny fingers. This may have been easier without the choke cable here, but I'll give it a couple tries, and if not, then I'll take the choke cable out. All right, we got it. All right. So like all the other stuff we've been doing, I like to get it just finger tight first. And then we're going to come back in with our 10mm wrench. We've got our 10mm, and we're just going to snug these up. Hey! Oh, Meadow's being my camera person. Oh, that didn't take him long. He's back in the house already. All right, so we got those. You snug them up good. You're going into a rubber intake, so it's gonna make a nice good seal. We have a good gasket on there, so don't over tighten them and strip them. There we go. All right, so I think we're good and tight there. Next thing we need is, we can go with the air filter, but let's get the gas hooked up to it. Make our way through the spare parts sitting over here. Get our fuel tank tray. Set that in there. Wrap your wires so nothing's being pinched. That looks good. Let's get our gas tank and set in there. Okay. So we got our gas tank in there. We're just going to get it set in temporarily. Got our gas line. We're going to slide that onto our carburetor. Got that on there. So our gas petcock. So we can turn our gas on. We'll just put that on there temporarily so that we can activate our gas. And all right, we're gonna fire this puppy up. I'm gonna turn the fan on because it's gonna be a little smelly. We've got our boost box here. That is our battery. Get it all hooked up. Positive. Make sure the positive's not touching anything but the positive, so we don't short anything out. Your ground to your ground. Everything looks good here. We're going to go ahead and pull our choke. Since it's a fresh start, it's nice and cold. We're going to turn our gas up to reserve. Let some gas flow down into the bowl. Alright, well, let's see what happens when we put some gas. Make sure our key is on. Give our boost box some power. Got the lights. good fire that one time. Just adjusting the idle a little bit more. Seems to be a Honda. It's running good. I got a little bouncy. I lost one of my screws, I think. I gotta go back and try to find that. But managed to grab that right before it fell. Those are the screws and bolts that hold in the gas tank. So, like I said, I just had everything sitting there temporarily. So, probably should have tightened those up before I went off-roading once I saw it was running. But was all excited. Had to go take it for a test drive. So, we're gonna go take a walk and look for another one of these.